Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. My name is John, and my most frequently asked question: how do I read and trade the MBI chart? It's like a foreign language. Well, here's just a basic chart of the SPY, and what you'll see on a candlestick chart is green for up candles or candles that had higher closes, red ones for just the opposite. So we utilize a little bit of that in the MBI chart. But then you also see your typical indicators. You've got your MACDs, your moving averages, RSI, your volumes, and trying not to make it a complete foreign language. While I admit that some of these had to have been a foreign language when you first looked at a chart and first learned how to do some degree of technical analysis when looking at a chart, we begin on an MBI chart with the basics of that. When you see all red candles, you have a red trend. When you have green, you have the beginnings of a uptrend. Within that, we have sparse little white candle and little green candles that will appear. The white candles are the MBI, which is the Morgan Buy indicator, which represents, we found the bottom. The GAM, a gradient algorithmic multiplier, also powerful, but can also represent strong moves to the downside. And we utilize these in different ways, particularly in red trend. We rarely buy straight out. We usually look for some type of retrace within the candle, and it's usually specific to some of the additional indicators. But once you have this basic outline of green and red trend, we then move on to the next level. And the next level would be our fractal buyers. And then it starts to get crazy, and you think, oh my goodness, that chart's a mess. I can't read it. Well, let's break it down just a teeny bit. First, we'll start with just our orange dot fractal buyers. And what we get with our orange dot is a series of algorithms that have broken out a very specific fractal buyer who buys with a specific target. And we usually mark this target with our little white dot above. And when we scroll our info window over it, you can see where it says trade, the amount, and then the up target, and gives the balance. And slide over to the next one, does the same thing. Fairly straightforward, and these are very reliable patterns that produce very high returns within a specific setup. And again, with these, we usually look for, like I said, in red trend a discount, green trend we'll usually go ahead and buy them, and where the dot is represents the stop that's usually associated with them, while the white dot on top. So you get a simple sense of a color dot below is looking for an up move, the white dot representing what the target is. As far as needing to know about details of the shakeout, up and down, that gets a little bit more elaborate, but we're not even done with the dots. We move on to a different fractal set of buyers. These happen to be called the hawk. And the hawk buyers also come at very specific times in the market, and they also have their upside target ranges that develop. And then you have their opposite version, where you're indicating that they've decided to sell, and or a large group of sellers have been attracted to the market, and those show up in these higher red dots that have a purple down target, and that represents their downside view. And you can see it from here. So it says down, that's very simple, straightforward, and then it gives the target range for that down move. It's also very simple to see in that aspect. So our last group of dots happen to be a variety of names. The real pivot, we have a series buy. Over here you have the catfish, because the catfish likes to bottom feed, and then the extreme fractal, and they have their buy targets, and you can see I've kind of drawn little lines across here to give you an idea of what those look like going forward. So put them all together, and yeah, you start to get quite a series of dots developing over a course of a chart. But if you begin to enlarge those, they come to be very specific outlines, and they come in groups, and this lets us know how to take advantage of very strong opportunities in the market. Well, what do we turn those into? Well, we turn them into strategies, and these strategies become very specific as far as targets and profits, and we can quantify those by running a portfolio summary profit analysis. It gives us our ideas, what our periodic returns can be, the amount of negative gains up and down, and these are all items that we make available to our members so that they can get specific ideas of what kind of percentages they're looking at for it. So this gives you a cursory understanding of how to read a chart, and obviously you have to get into a lot more detail to get to the expanded ratio histogram and some of these others, and we'll cover those topics in a different video. Trade well.